Fantasy offers no escape. Hello and welcome to Williams Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Hembar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Lavie Tidhar's Unholy Land. Unholy Land is a 2018 novel by Lavie Tidhar, and it follows a somewhat autobiographical Lior Tarosh, who is a semi-successful author of the pulp variety, but is also a time traveler and plane traveler. He is returning home to East Africa, to the Jewish state of Palestina, which has grown dangerous in wall building in his absence. His friend is murdered and he becomes a suspect. Special investigator Bloom investigates. He has a first-person point of view. Tarosh is in third person, but we do get to see him from Bloom's point of view, so it's a rather nice perspective switch. Compared to someone like Chabon or Mayville, or maybe even Liber a little bit in his Our Lady of Darkness, this is interesting, right? I'm reminded of them, but in some ways I like this more than all of them, besides maybe Liber. But Liber is mostly going for horror, and that just has some autobiographical parts. And this feels very literary in that sense, but it's fantastic in a literary form. It's very much speculative fiction, just in this literary form. And it's a bit more realistic, I would say, in something like, and depressing even, than Circumference of the World, also by Tidhar. And it doesn't have the cyberpunkness of, say, something like Central Station. Identity definitely seems to be a theme here, as, traveling to different realities has Tarosh playing different roles. He's not exactly the same person in each of these realities. And we also have something called The Outside, which is interesting, and there's a great sense of place and imagery overall, whether it's the general setting, or the specific buildings or rooms, or the characters themselves. Again, overall, it's rather melancholic, though. There are many allusions to talking points, I guess you could say. A particular one on ghettos and walls was very poignant, and it was very self-aware sci-fi, particularly where sci-fi is a what-if genre, right? There are also small parts in second person. Of course, these are rather rare in literature unless you're reading a choose-your-own-adventure book, which I'm sure most people wouldn't even call literature. Also, there is a story within a story here. There's a book called Unholy Land, written by someone that never existed, which is something that reminds me of some other Tidhar stuff. There's also cool things like Homo sapiens not existing in one dimension, or dinosaurs surviving, or one with Homo erectus going on into a shiny future of Golden Age sci-fi. There's waste between the stars, and there's ideas that we explore God himself. It has definitely quite an ending, and a lovely, lovely little note by the author afterwards, which that quote I opened with is actually from. Overall, it's a short novel worth your time. It's got fun multiverse ideas, though, again, these are rather depressing and not utopian. They're realistic, in a sense. It's our world. It's not perfect. There are still things to think on, but they're not nihilistic either, and they definitely have some sense of positivity, I would say, an option to change, rather than some fiction these days, which is just pretty bad, just bad. Anyways, and so Tidhar explores many of the same ideas, again, as he has previously explored elsewhere, but different twist here, different conclusions maybe, or different lanes he goes down for these thoughts. This was my fifth book I've actually read by him, and again, I'm always excited to read more. I'm reading my seventh now, actually, because I've read a sixth in between. He definitely has a certain mood that I have fallen in love with, but remember, and this is something I feel like that maybe sci-fi is a little better at, but fantasy in particular is guilty of, but remember, fantasy offers no escape.